So my name is Ashley Nybert. I am the Independent Science Lead Curriculum Designer, and I am also the main intern representative. So whenever we have interns, I am the go-to person for that as well. And we'll talk about that later. So if anyone ever has anybody that's interested in science fields that might want to intern with us, we do that as well. I graduated in 2015 with my bachelor's in chemistry from Rockhurst University. I am currently in my final semester of a curriculum and instructional design master's degree at Wichita State University, and I am legally blind. For those of you who are not familiar with independent science is an access technology company that is run by and for blind and low vision scientists. It's also owned by a legally blind chemist. We work on accessibility solutions for all things science related. And we have people for biology, chemistry, physics, earth sciences, and some coders as well, several of whom have their doctorate degrees, all of whom are blind or legally blind. You know that when you're working with us, that it's people who have succeeded in the fields that your students are trying to work in, and we will be directly mentoring students if they are needing work with that. Our products, we've designed them so that we can work with them ourselves, and so we use these every day in our own work as well. For those of you who haven't seen them before, this is called a talking LabQuest. So what I'm holding up right now is a tablet type device that is about the size of the new iPhone SE, or if you're not that familiar with the newer technology, an iPhone 6S. It's a small tablet-like device that, unlike most things that they tell you it's portable for blind people, this actually is portable. If you're lucky enough to be a person who gets real pockets in their pants, you could fit it in your pocket and take it along with you. It's an easy thing to carry around in your backpack, has a live touch screen to it, so that if you are low vision or if you are working with sighted peers, you can work together on the same device. It will talk out loud. It also is keyboard controlled. I have a USB keyboard hooked up to it. Any USB keyboard will work with this device. So if your student has a preference for like the keyboards that have the large yellow squares with the black letters, then that works, or whatever other favorite keyboard your student has an affinity to, as long as it has function keys. It has over 75 different sensors that will work with it. You can plug in multiple sensors at the same time. These sensors include things like temperature, pH, motion, light, soil moisture, EKGs, blood pressure cuffs, and fancier things like colorimetry, as well as HPLCs and balances. So it will get them up from your introductory sciences all the way up through your graduate studies and beyond as well. All right, so now I am going to turn on our LabQuest, and it should appear there once it gets going. So right now on the screen, it's got this little loading square. And then it takes a little bit before the talking can initialize. So we'll hear a beep that will be the start of the initialization, and then it will say, SciVoice talking LabQuest, starting LabQuest application, please wait. So there's the initialization.
SciVoice talking LabQuest version 2.3, starting LabQuest application, please wait.
All right, so now we can click on this. If I had multiple LabQuests, I could shuffle through them. But since I only have the one connected, that will show up. And this is my lovely feature that will tell me that an auto recovery has happened, just to make sure I didn't spend a long day in the laboratory and then accidentally delete all my data.
Push button. Cancel.
I don't want the data I did last time, so I'm going to hit cancel. Now it's going to read off everything every 0.5 seconds.
CH1, temperature 23.3 degrees Celsius.
So I'm going to go ahead and start recording that by pressing
CH1,
F3.
temperature 23.7 degrees Celsius. Collection started.
So now I am putting
23.6.
this into our water.
90.4. 9.8. 7.5. 6.9. 6.5.
We'll see how cold it
6.4.
gets, because it's been sitting on my table for a
6.2.
little.
6.2. 6.0. 6.0.
Looking like it's kind of evening out
6.0.
there. So then we're going
6.2.
to heat it back up.
10.8.
I'm just holding that in my hand now.
15.8. 18.4. 19.8. 20.8. 21.5.
We've stopped the data collection, so now we're
Graph
going
page.
to go
Push button.
over.
Run selector.
So we have now, I'm going to flip
Sampling high contrast
it
mode
to
on.
high contrast. And so now we have our graph that is shown on screen. This graph is going to be very nice for sighted people who are able to look at it. However, we don't have as much of a way to look at it if you are blind or low vision. For that, we have a sonification feature, which is the easiest way to get a qualitative view of our data. And notice I said qualitative, not quantitative. So it's going to have a higher pitch noise for higher numbers, a lower pitch noise for lower numbers, and a popping noise every quarter of the graph. But these do not map directly over to numbers. That's why it's more of a qualitative rather than a quantitative view. If we want to have a quantitative view of it, then we will emboss it out with a Viewplus Embosser. And those are really nice because they work with a spot dot, so it can have a print and a tactile on the same page that you can turn into your teacher. But for right now, we're going to show a quick sonification.
Menu, file, menu item new, menu, graph, menu item, menu, sonify, menu item, sonify options, menu, start sonification.
And like I said, we're going to have that go through. It's going to play a higher pitch noise when it's a higher number and a lower pitch noise when it's a lower number, and a popping noise every 25%.
Menu item temperature. Push button, run selector.
So from that, I can gather that in that first 25% of the graph, there's a really steep decline in data. It went down very fast. Then it stayed down for about 25% more of the graph. So at 50%, that's around when I'm guessing that it started going up because I put it back in my hand. We can figure that out more with our statistics feature.
Push button, for run. Plot details box run 1 temperature. Plot details, push button, okay.
So when we go through here, we have
Delta X, 69.0.
So our delta X, we of course are doing this in time, so it ran for 69 seconds.
Delta V, 17.8.
Delta Y, as we were running it in degrees centigrade, so it changed 17.8 degrees over the whole course of the whole recording.
Samples, 139.
We were recording every half second, so we recorded 139 samples.
SDD 7.2705.
Our standard deviation there. Our average, I think, should be next.
Mean, 13.7.
Yep, our average temperature was 13.7.
Max, 23.7 at 0.0.
So for that, our maximum temperature was at 0 seconds exactly at 23.7 degrees right before I put it in the water.
Min, 5.9 at 36.0.
And the minimum temperature was 5.9 degrees at 36 seconds.
LabQuest application, graph page, plot details box run 1 temperature.
So now if I want to hear more about an individual point, say I'm interested in what happened around 4.5 seconds. Then I can go over to the data table page.
Data table page.
And then I can scroll through and figure out what temperature it was exactly at 4.5 seconds.
Text box run 1, 0.0, 0.5, 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, 2.5, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, 23.6, 4.5, 23.6.
And I can see that 4.5 seconds, it was 23.6 degrees centigrade. What we're going to do now is go over to the lab instructions page. This is going to be where you would be able to have your accessible versions of your laboratory instructions. Teachers can program HTML in there, but there's also 75 different books that are pre-uploaded. That's over $400 worth of curriculum loaded onto here.
Lab instructions page.
And then we also have some science resources that are specific to blind and low vision on the Talking LabQuest that I'll show in a few. So then we also have a notes page
Notes
here.
page. Text box blank.
So I can write my notes here. I wouldn't do a full lab report here, but we can write just short notes.
HIOTAROLINA.
And I can get it to say.
Hi, North Carolina.
So then if we want to, we can press our shortcut key of F9 that will take us directly to our science resources folder, which is, again, those blindness resources.
Open science resources. Files. Folder. Biology. 12/01/2020.
And you can see here that it's separated into topics. We're going to go into Earth Space Science because
chemistry.
that's one of my favorites.
Earth and Space Sciences. 12/01/2020.
So then once I go into it, it will automatically start reading everything. So I'm going to stop it rather quickly so that it doesn't read through the whole thing. And then I'll demonstrate some of the things we can do with it.
File. Famous constellations and their descriptions.html. 12/01/2020.
So let's learn about some famous constellations.
LabQuest application. Notes page. Lab instructions page. Text box. Famous constellations and their descriptions at various meaning. Water error as seen in October description. A man pouring water out of an urn into a stream. In Greek mythology it represents Ganem, who was supposedly a handsome cupbearer to the gods branded eternal.
We learned some cool things about when the real age of a certain constellation begins. We can also go through, say I want to learn about Aquarius, but I have no idea how to spell Aquarius. So I can go through and here by letter.
Q-U-A-R-I-U-S.
And then I can go by line.
Meaning, water error.
And then I can also hit Control Shift right arrow and go by word.
Water error.
And then I can do it backwards as well.
Water.
And then we can go through by heading as well. Control Alt down arrow. So if I want to hear about a specific one, I can go through. And if I want to learn about Aries, then I can go through from there.
Best seen in December. Description. This constellation has been envisioned as a ram for centuries. The Babylonians correlated it with farming, Egyptians with the god Amun-Ra, and the Greeks with the sheep that was killed for the golden fleece. Its brightest star is Camel and can be difficult to spot in the sky. Canis Major.
And then I can go up and down, back and forth on different headings as well. And so another thing that we have available here to us is a calculator on board the device. So it's a complete scientific calculator. And so everything on here is keyboard controlled. You won't have to tab through everything. So I can press enter here.
Calculator display 0.
And then if I wanted to type, for instance, figure out the sign of 10, for instance, I can type 10.
1, 10.
And then the sign shortcut key is A.
Time 0.17364882.
And then say I made a mistake. I really wanted to hear the tangent, so I can hit C for clear.
Reset calculator, clear all, 0.
And then I can press 10 again.
10.
And then I can press the D key for tangent.
Tangent, 0.176327.
And so we can access everything through there. Then if we go back.
LabQuest app. Calculator.
Now,
Periodic table.
as a chemist, this is one of my favorite portions, is the onboard periodic table. If anyone ever had to go and do those favorite elements pieces, this is going to be one for you, because we have all of the information, and this is as a chemist that you would ever and never want to learn about any particular element. So we can go into here.
Periodic table of elements. Hydrogen.
So now I can search through
Lithium.
and go.
Lithium. Magnesium. Calcium. Scandium. Titanium.
Let's
Vanadium.
learn about vanadium. Can press enter on
Weak
that.
vanadium. Name. Vanadium.
And it will read off all of these. It's over 20 different facts about it. And then I can hit escape on that.
Periodic table of elements.
And it will
Vanadium.
bring me back, and I can go through any element that
Scandium,
I'd like
calcium,
to learn about.
Magnesium. Mg. Magnesium. Name. Magnesium.
And then I could do the same things there. Fun fact about magnesium here, and we're going to go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom real
Symbol.
quick.
Density. Covalent radius. Atomic
So-
volume. Cubic centimeters per mole. 14.0. Specific heat joules per gram Kelvin. 1.03. Heat of fusion kilojoules per mole. 1.20. Heat of vaporization kilo. Electronegativity. First ionization energy kilojoules per mole. 737.3. Oxidation phase. +2. Electron configuration. Ne3S2. Appearance. Lightweight. Malleable. Silvery white metal. Discovery date. 1808 England. Discovered by Sir Humphrey Davy.
And the reason I wanted to skip over to here is because, as you heard there, this was discovered in 1808 by a chemist named Sir Humphrey Davy, who discovered the most elements on the periodic table, 8 elements by one single person. He also was a blind chemist in 1808. So that is a fun fact for you.
Periodic table of elements. Magnesium.
All right. And so those are the main features that we have of the periodic table. And then we can also go
Main
back
desktop. Calculator. Main desktop. LabQuest app.
and be able to go back and collect data again if we want to. So some of the other services that Independent Science offers include Braille mark labels. So these will go right on your beakers or other laboratory equipment. It has Braille on the front and then large print on the back. So if you have anybody that doesn't read Braille when they're restocking, then it will be able to work there. This one is our acetone label. Other services that we offer are PDF remediation. So this is a service that a lot of times PDFs with screen readers will go blank, 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 blank. It's really great. Not. So one of the things that we do with that is professionally tagged versions of those. And one of the benefits of that is that we are professional scientists, so we're able to do more of the finessing in terms of exact image descriptions instead of just like a circle is here with lines, instead of being able to describe your methane atom that you've got going on. So we'll be able to do that, label by headings, and we do estimates, but unlike a lot of different places, we do estimates by time instead of by page number. And so we'll give you an estimate in the beginning. We will stick to that estimate. You'll never have to pay over that. So if I estimate that it's going to take me 2 hours and it takes me 5 hours, you're still paying for 2 hours worth of work. So we can do trainings both virtual and in person. And if you do a virtual training, that's going to be more informational. We can talk about some of the lab safety. They can do some of the work through our remote learning process using that LabQuest viewer and be able to do that. But hands-on training is still going to be our best bet for our blind students. A virtual training can be good for sensitivity training for professors and things like that we can also do. Other collaborations that we do include working with different places that would be interested in making their equipment accessible for blind and low vision scientists, we can work and do one-offs, or we can work with you to partner and make your curriculum accessible, as well as different products that might be available. We also do mentorships and internship programs. And so if a student needs to do a work program for school or a transition program, they can work with us as well on that. So I think I'm running towards the end of my time.
Oh, you're right. Your time is up. Thank you very much for your presentation, Ashley. How would someone get hold of you if they want more information?
I think I might have just put my contact info. So if you're looking for any more information, you can go to www.independencescience.com. That's independence with an ENCE. Or you can always contact me individually. My name is Ashley Nybert again, and you can reach me at 866-862-9665, and I'm extension 5. Or at my email at anybert, that's ANEYBERT, at independencescience.com.